Let's see. Isn't there a big movie out this month I should do a tie-in video on? Oh, I know. Coming to America. That means I should review the first movie.
You must be out of your goddamn mind!
What do you know from funny, you bastard?
Alright. All joking aside, I think I know what movie you want me to do. Godzilla vs. Kong is coming out, so it's about time I did the original. See, aren't you glad I waited to do another Godzilla movie? So assuming it doesn't get delayed again, later this month, Godzilla vs. Kong will finally be released in theaters. And also streaming, since a lot of movie theaters still aren't open yet. So it only makes sense that I take a look back at the first time the two of them met, all the way back in 1962. But before I do that, it's important to ask, how did Godzilla and Kong fight in the first place? I mean, it's not like today where movie crossovers are fairly common, and we're talking about characters owned by different movie studios from two different countries, so how the hell did this movie even get made? Well, for the answer to that, we're gonna have to go back to the man responsible for originally bringing King Kong to life, Willis O'Brien, who did the stop-motion animation in the original 1933 film. In the early 60s, O'Brien had a concept for a movie called King Kong Meets Frankenstein. But rather than the traditional human-sized Frankenstein, this one would be a creature Kong-size made from various sewn-together African animals, with the two monsters eventually battling it out in San Francisco. O'Brien made a story treatment and even some concept art for the project and shopped it around to various major studios, but none of them were interested. As a result, O'Brien's producing partner, John Beck, decided to take the idea to film companies overseas, eventually coming to the attention of Japan's Toho Studios. Toho liked the idea of Kong fighting another monster, but instead of Frankenstein, they wanted him to battle their own monster, Godzilla, instead. Because Beck had gone to Toho behind O'Brien's back, he agreed and ended up taking all the credit for O'Brien's idea. Now, having Godzilla and Kong fight sounds good on paper, but there's a bit of a problem, namely the size and power difference between the two of them. Remember, in the original 1933 movie, Kong's only about the size of a T-Rex, and at the end he gets killed by a few biplanes with machine guns. Meanwhile, Godzilla's as big as a skyscraper and is practically indestructible, so they're kinda in different weight classes here. Not to mention Godzilla has his atomic breath while Kong doesn't have any special powers, so if the two of them ever did fight, it'd be over pretty quickly. Well, not to worry, because this ain't your daddy's King Kong, it's a kaiju-ified version that's able to go toe-to-toe with Godzilla. So in 1962, Godzilla and Kong finally met in what posters called the most colossal conflict the screen has ever known. So now that you know the backstory, it's about time I got to the actual movie, and fingers crossed I won't have to use too many of these throughout the review. King Kong vs. Godzilla, produced by a company that I really hope doesn't block this video. Now, thank God they were able to get permission to use King Kong. Konga vs. Godzilla just doesn't have the same ring to it. So anyway, how does a meeting of two of the most iconic monsters in cinema history begin?
There are more things in heaven and earth, Horatio, than are dreamt of in your philosophy.
Yeah, bet you didn't think King Kong vs. Godzilla would start with a Shakespeare quote, did you? Oh, also much like the original Godzilla film, the American release was re-edited and featured several new scenes that weren't in the Japanese version. But while the scenes added to the American release of the first Godzilla tried to fit in with the original movie, the ones added here... well, just take a look.
This is United Nations reporter Eric Carter.
Because Americans don't like foreign films, I'm here to pad out the runtime so the movie can have less Asian people. Not only do these American scenes not add much, but they don't make a whole lot of sense either.
We take you live to Santiago de Chile and our UN reporter, Rodrigo Infanta. Hello, Santiago.
Yeah, I don't think that's Santiago. I'm pretty sure that's outer space. Another weird thing about the American scenes, the footage of the satellite was actually taken from an earlier Toho sci-fi movie called The Mysterians. So we have footage from a Japanese movie that were used in American scenes that were then put into another Japanese movie. It's like stock footage-ception. I shouldn't complain though, the Mysterian stuff is the best part of the American footage.
I have a message from the President of Chile, conveying his heartfelt thanks to the United Nations and the Red Cross for their swift and most excellent assistance.
Wow, these American scenes really spice up the movie, don't they? Oh, don't believe me? He's going to a map now.
The Japan Current, sometimes called Kuroshido, divides here. The northern branch skirts Asia and merges with the cold Oyashia Current.
Yeah, all the excitement of a high school science video. Jeez, is he still going?
These red berries produce a non-habit-forming narcotic effect.
Hey, so I can get high and not have to worry about stealing from my mom to get my fix? Nice. And habit forming or not, the government still made possession of these things a felony, so better hide your stash there, pal. Okay, so the gist is the berries are called soma, and can only be found on one remote island, and a pharmaceutical company headed by Mr. Taco, yes, that really is this character's name, wants to send an expedition there so we can start making some sweet, sweet berry drugs. There's just one problem though, supposedly there's a giant monster on the island too.
Does a giant creature exist here? Since you ask my opinion, my answer is yes.
A giant monster? He must be putting us on.
Didn't Godzilla attack Japan twice already? How does this guy not believe giant monsters exist? This works out perfectly though, since Taco thinks a monster would provide great publicity for his company.
Have you seen our latest TV ratings? Who out there is watching our show? Nobody. Because it's dull and boring and without imagination.
Well, that's what you get for making a TV spin-off of Things. Taco looks like he's wearing those fake nose and mustache glasses, except that's actually his face. Anyway, Taco sends two of his employees, Sakurai and Furu, to the island to find the monster. Just what is this island anyway?
There was a small island called Faro Island.
Faro Island? Alright, I guess Toho wasn't able to get permission to use Skull Island. I don't know why Taco thinks he needs a monster to increase ratings. Japan's full of wacky inventors.
This is wire. Stronger than steel.
Stop! I'm convinced! I'm convinced!
Okay, Vegeta, you can reveal your secret identity as Japanese Spider-Man later. Right now we have more American filler scenes to get to.
This is Commander Roberts reporting from UN submarine Seahawk.
Hello, Seahawk. This is Tokyo. Our tracking stations in Japan are following you closely.
It's a good thing they included that scene saying they were watching the sub. Otherwise, they could have just cut to the submarine and I would have had no idea whether or not it was being watched closely. Hey, some scenes from the Japanese version of the movie with Americans. And things seem to actually be happening here.
Doctor, what do you make of that?
It looks like the Cherenkov light.
Cherenkov light? What can that be?
It's the first big plot development of the movie, that's what. Jeez, if this guy's mustache was any bigger, this movie would have another kaiju in it.
Up underwater periscope.
Great, not only have they crashed into a radioactive iceberg, but I think the submarine just pissed itself. And Godzilla does not appreciate that.
What do you make of that, Al? Godzilla!
So if you're wondering why Godzilla's breaking out of an iceberg, it's because he was encased in ice at the end of the previous movie, Godzilla Raids Again, which makes this one of the only movies in the original Godzilla series to actually have some continuity to it. Well, sort of.
The world is stunned to discover that prehistoric creatures exist in the 20th century.
Again, isn't this like the third time Godzilla's appeared? You really shouldn't be so surprised at this point. Well, even though Godzilla's back, Dr. Serizawa can take care of him. He even fixed his eye. Oh, wait, actually, I think this is supposed to be a different guy.
We must not panic. The armed forces will defend Japan at all costs.
Yeah, and they're gonna fail. Haven't you seen a Godzilla movie before?
If we do not destroy Godzilla, soon, the monster will destroy us all.
But again, don't panic. Oh man, not even 15 minutes in and already Godzilla's fucking up Japan. This really shows the difference in pacing between the Japanese version and the American scenes. Case in point, just look at this.
Yutaka Omura from Tokyo, reporting that the situation is grim.
Thanks for the update. Before I move on, I just want to say that the Godzilla suit used here is one of my favorites. Supposedly Toho designed Godzilla to look less scary than the previous movies, but I really like the more alligator-style look used here. To me, it really embodies this era of Godzilla films. Regarding the American footage, I think at one point they just start watching the Japanese version of the movie.
No more! I'm sick of Godzilla!
Yeah, there's something I never hear in the comments section of my videos.
Faro Island.
Whoa, you mean Taco's men are already at Faro Island? Man, this movie moves way quicker than the American footage. If this were Peter Jackson's King Kong, the opening credits wouldn't even be done yet. Even in the early 60s, Japan was at the forefront of camcorder technology. So just like in the original King Kong, they quickly encounter the natives who are wearing, let's just say island face. Not only that, but I think they're training their women to be future Conan the Barbarians.
Listen,
want the chief to know we came here as his friends.
Listen, fellas, the natives are mainly mad at your guide, not you. I mean, there's a story reason they're painted up. This guy's just doing it to be a dick.
Uy, ay, looking you prince, virong miero. Film talk virong mi. Tasol you to Faro.
I know a way to convince the natives. Show them some Japanese music. And if that doesn't work, just give them some cigarettes. Hell, give the kids some too. What? It's the early 60s. According to doctors, it's good for you.
It's okay. They're all smoking.
Alright, you can bust out the whiskey for the kids later. Right now they gotta summon Kong. Meanwhile, Sakurai's sister learns that her boyfriend was involved in a plane crash.
118 passengers die on board. 27 survive.
Maybe he could be one of the survivors. Why don't you go to Hokkaido?
Do not go to Hokkaido.
Well, it's a little late for that. Oh boy, time for more American filler scenes telling us shit we already know.
After examining photographs of Godzilla taken by the ICS, I tend to classify him as a prehistoric species of dinosaur, possibly a cross between the gigantic Tyrannosaurus rex and the Stegosaurus.
Hey, how are we gonna fill time here? I don't know, borrow one of my kids' dinosaur books. Maybe we could do something with that.
Dr. Johnson, you stated Godzilla would definitely come to Japan. What makes you believe this?
The fact that he's Godzilla, that's what.
Dr. Johnson has consented to stand by at UN headquarters and keep himself available for comment and consultation.
In other words, expect more filler. Oh, good, we're back to the Japanese version of the movie. Maybe we'll get a little more substance here.
My corns hurt.
Ah, you and your corn.
But you see, my corns always hurt when they're near a monster.
Or maybe we'll just have some talk about corns. So as you may have guessed, instead of the darker feel of the first two Godzilla movies, the filmmakers opted for a lighter, more comedic tone here. Although it would still be a few movies before they got to the Godzilla victory dance.
It's only a lizard. Throw it down.
Alright, these scenes might be silly, but after the workplace training video vibe of the American scenes, I'm not complaining. Besides, I know one thing that can liven up this movie. That's right, some good old Japanese tentacle action. Stupid Japanese special effects. That real octopus looks totally fake. Here's a bit of trivia. Rumor has it that after filming was done, effects supervisor Eiji Tsuburaya had an octopus used in this scene for dinner. So in this case, you could say animals were harmed after filming. There's even some stop motion here too, although it's not quite Ray Harryhausen level. Actually, considering the first Godzilla film took inspiration from the beast from 20,000 Fathoms, I wonder if this part was an homage to It Came From Beneath the Sea. It's also here that we get our first look at Kong, and, well, let's just say I don't like the suit they used for him as much as Godzilla's. Gotta admit, though, it's not the worst I've seen on this show. It's a hell of a lot better than the one from Ape, that's for sure. Toho apparently liked the idea of an ape monster fighting a giant octopus so much they reused it in War of the Gargantuas. Yeah, that's right. Go back to where you came from, you cephalopunk. And what better way for Kong to celebrate his victory than by getting sloshed on berry juice? Yeah, time for this Kong to get donkey crunk. I'm not joking. Kong gets so hammered he just passes out. Well, might as well leave him here. No way we could fit him into a cab anyway. Could you keep it down? I'm trying to sleep off this hangover.
Let's go home.
We're going home.
No, we're going home.
With Kong.
With Kong?
Hell yeah, you're going home with Kong. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a movie. And we'd have to depend more on these American filler scenes.
Godzilla has a brain about this size.
What, are you calling Godzilla stupid? I mean, yeah, sure, he was in Godzilla's Revenge, but come on, everybody makes mistakes.
While Kong is a thinking animal. His brain is considerably larger.
Oh, sure, but if he keeps getting drunk on berry juice, he's not going to have much brain power left. God, they're still going?
Being amphibian, Godzilla is probably lurking in the ocean depths off Japan.
How does that sound in Tokyo?
Not very good.
So were the scenes in the Japanese version these replaced just paint drying? Okay, back to the Japanese footage. Sakurai and Furu decide to haul Kong's drunk ass back to Tokyo, and Tako decides to make a visit to see Kong for himself. He even wore his best short shorts for the occasion.
Ah, there! King Kong!
Stop!
Don't. That's dynamite. Press that lever and pow goes Kong.
Kong Pow? Okay, apparently this expedition was co-sponsored by the Acme Corporation. Before they're able to drop Kong off in Tokyo, they're stopped by the Japanese Navy. Turns out Japan doesn't want another giant monster stomping around.
I have government orders. King Kong must be taken back to Faro Island at once.
You know, the Japanese government ordering the ship to turn back because they don't want another giant monster within their borders might be the most believable and realistic thing in this movie. Makes sense. Japan has enough monsters to worry about.
Mommy, let's go see Godzilla.
Hey, piss off, kid. This movie doesn't need a Kenny. Go bother Gamera. Meanwhile, Godzilla's begun to attack Japan, and stock footage from all over the world is gathered to try and stop him.
Just where is he now?
Godzilla's last position was reported by helicopter.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Take it easy there, pal. Pointing at maps is the American scene's job. Well, it wouldn't be a Godzilla movie without him menacing a train. Bad news, passengers. Godzilla is blocking the tracks, so you'll have to exit the train. However, you still won't be getting a refund, fuckers. And if you want to get away from him, don't run like you're in a slasher movie, lady. Look, Godzilla doesn't need to run to catch up with you when he's hundreds of feet tall, so hustle it up, will ya? Meanwhile, Kong seems to be waking up from his drunken berry stupor and could really use some Gatorade and a hearty breakfast.
There's no time to argue. Destroy him.
What? King Kong is my responsibility. You dumbbell. Dumbbell?
No, that's not right. It's supposed to go like this.
You ding dong!
Looks like they've got no choice but to blow Kong up Wile E. Coyote style.
Don't do it. No, leave it alone. No. King Kong is mine. No. Ah!
Okay, that's not the end of the movie. But it is a good place to end part 1 of this review, so I think I'll take a bit of a break for now. Until next time.
I'm sick of Godzilla.